Oh, I think we're already live. Good evening, salams. Welcome to another episode of Inside the I League with this collaboration between 420 grams, what is hopefully your favorite Indian football show, and Sudeva Delhi FC, the only Delhi club that's playing in either of the top two divisions of Indian football as of now. And it was a historic day. Um, a win, the first 3 points, first goal, lots of firsts happening today, and we're not going to do too much of an intro. Of course, you all must be already well aware that Sudeva Delhi FC were playing Indian Arrows in the game this evening at 4 p.m. held at Kalyani Stadium. Uh, a long bus ride from where the teams are stationed in Newtown in Kolkata to the Kalyani Stadium. So a bit, there was several factors to contend with, and it appeared that as per our sort of assessment pre-game, it worked out. Things worked out pretty well for Sudeva Delhi FC. Joining us on the show today, as he was yesterday as well, is the current captain of Sudeva Delhi FC and the man who was also adjudged the hero of the game tonight, Kean Lewis. Kean, you look pretty fresh, man, considering the long bus ride, the hard-fought game, fairly high tempo, high intensity game that was played today. Uh, how are you feeling? First win, first 3 points on the board.
I think we're feeling really good, and I know it's been a long journey there and back in the bus. I think more than the pressure of the game, I think was pressure to keep our bladders locked in for the journey there and back because I think everyone wanted to go for a league. So, but yeah, the boys are
Yeah.
ecstatic to get their first win, and I think it would have been a sad journey back from Kalyani if we couldn't get the job done. But it's a good victory. It's a good way now to get into the momentum from we said in the last game we created chances and all of that, and that doesn't get us points, but today we got the 3 points, we got the goals, we got the the early goal in the second half as well. So I think all the boys did a good job, and it was a good happy journey back.
Right. You had the captain's armband on today, and when we chatted some about what that means to you, and your idea of captaincy and how that works in a football team, especially with a club which is looking at a sort of rotational captaincy policy. I don't want to talk too much about the captaincy element of it, but you got the first goal for the team today, the first goal in a way for in senior football in terms of Sudeva's competitive footballing story. Um, how did that feel? What sort of I don't know, was it like a spark that kind of set things off in terms of this season for the club?
Yeah, of course, we're always looking to get that early goal, and obviously, getting on the score sheet is something as an offensive player, all of us want to, score or assist, and there's whether it's the first goal or the second goal or third goal or an easy game, whether you're winning 5-0, 10-0. I think just getting on the score sheet is always something that an offensive player would want to be on. We were creating a lot of chances in the first half. Going into the game itself, we were pressing them high. They were making a lot of mistakes, and we kept them in their half. So I think it was only a matter of time before we got that got that goal. But like until the ball's in the back of the net, it still has to be done.
Right. And building on from there, actually, it was at least from the sidelines a fairly dominant performance. Uh, you seem to have read Coach Shanmugam Venkatesh's game plan fairly well. You played your own game really well, tactically, positionally, all of that. Uh, who do you think among your boys, what was the change from the first game against Mohammedan Sporting versus this game? Of course, we have to give credit to to Indian Arrows for putting up a good fight. They are, as we all know, a fairly young bunch of boys. What worked today and what was different?
I think the first game we had a young team, a lot of them playing their first professional game. So there were a little bit of nerves. Also, I think we were playing it a little bit safe because we were playing Mohammedan, a big name in Kolkata. Um, so we were a bit apprehensive of the strategy we used today. But I think when we saw the potential, what we have in our team, and what the players can do, I think that kind of built the confidence in the players and the coaching staff as well to go in there today and play the game we want to play, and that's what we tried doing from minute one. Yeah, there were a couple of changes in the positioning and the way we were going to execute the game. I think in terms of players, I think it was only one change in the player, but I think otherwise it was mainly the assessment of the arrows and the style they play, and then how we contain them
Mm,
and where we can exploit them.
mm. Jaideep sir, as always, thank you for taking the time to join us
Thank
on
you.
this post-match analysis. Well, you were of course watching the game. What did you make of? Let's start with Arrows. What did you make of Arrows and their young squad and how they
Uh,
looked?
Let me start saying something. Today morning, a very senior official of the Arrows told me that a very senior official of the Arrows. He told me that he somehow watched the our NewsClick 420 program on Arrows, where we spoke a lot about Arrows, and they felt very
Mm-hmm.
encouraged by what we talked about, and they thanked us a lot for saying good things about Arrows. And giving encouraging comment about them. That is very fine about them. But what he said what he said in the morning, according to that, I was actually personally was looking forward to Arrows game, and going by that, I would say I'm a bit disappointed. Bit disappointed in the by the see the Sudeva played quite well, and they are absolutely deserving victors. I'm not trying to take away anything from them, but see, we don't really expect Arrows to win every match, or win by a thumping margin against a senior team, or do very. But we wanted to watch something which will encourage us to think that these boys are going ahead. These boys must be going ahead. Let me tell that I'm not judging them by one match or two matches. We can't. But today they made some of the mistakes which were quite painful. At least first two goals, they made some terrible defensive mistakes. One by the goalkeeper, one by the defender. And apart from the goals, even if I take out the goals, let us take out the goals. Some of their movements, I don't know. I was not very like the one fellow Dipu. We were looking forward how he plays. Dipu was doing well, but he was making I think at times too many defensive mistakes. Even Sajad Pari, that JNK boy, he had a good physique, and as a central defender, he had an ideal physique, I thought. But he was not. Perhaps he was not up to the mark. So, except that two forwards, Gurkirat is again one of the experienced boys, because he was there last year also, and the other fellow who was there, who was moving around a lot. So, in totality, if you ask me, I will sum it up like this: that Sudeva is a very, very deserving winner, and the man who is at the moment with us as one of the participant in this discussion, he was certainly the best player of the match. Whenever he had the ball, he created danger. At one point of time, I remember the commentator was saying that he is notch higher than the rest of the boys, something like that he commented, which is true perhaps. But as far as Arrows was concerned, I think Venkatesh will have to go back to the drawing board and think of better things for the next few matches. What he said, it didn't happen, and he said he will go for attacks, he will go for points. But only time I found them going for attacks after they were down 0-3. But that's something very natural in football. When a team is down by 2 or 3 goals, they try to create some. There is nothing. So overall, I think the Arrows management would like to not much to remember from this match for them.
Fair enough. I'm going to bring that to you, Kean. What Jaideep has said. Is it like he's saying a failure on Arrow's part to play the game, or was it finally that the Sudeva boys decided to come out and play? That you all had a tactical plan and you came out looking to press from the very beginning, play an aggressive kind of style of football. And even those 2 mistakes that led to the first 2 goals, would you consider them sort of unforced errors, like we say in tennis, or something that the system kind of forced these kids, because they are kids, put them under pressure and forced them into making those mistakes?
I think it's a mixture of both, because going into the game, we focused on pressing them and not letting them build out of the back, which I think was lacking in our previous game, because we were sitting behind too much with Mohammedan and letting their defenders carry the ball. So I think we read their 2 stopper backs who were going to play, and then we had decided who's going to press and how we're going to press them. And we wanted to keep the game in their half, because then their only chance was going long, and their striker Fela is not taller than Kima or Gursimrat. So in the aerial battle, they were going to win it every time. So I think we wanted them to go long. Obviously, they're a young team. They're boys with talent, with skill, but they still have a long way to go. They still have games to play, and the only way they're going to learn is by making mistakes, and that's the general way how all of us have grown up learning. Through the mistakes, and they're getting the opportunity to get game time under their belt and make those mistakes. So um, they made a lot of mistakes, and that led to the goals. But that's the learning process, and for us, it was the learning process in the first game. On some positional faults that we made, and then not being organized after the water stoppage. So I think for us, those were our learning areas, apart from the other ones. And then that's what we try not to repeat. And I think it goes for the same for the Arrows or any of the other teams. But they're obviously younger boys, so maturity will come with time for them.
Right. Since Jerry was mentioning Gurkirat, the Arrows forward, uh, Akashdeep was tasked with keeping him in check. And now Akash isn't one of those players who's likely to go out and sort of do something spectacular and grab the headlines. But in my mind, he had a fairly solid game, and he had Gurkirat well under control, and which even led to, I suppose, that young striker getting frustrated towards the end of the game. Do you sort of agree with that assessment?
Yeah, I mean, Akash is very solid. He's played. He has experience in the I League for over 3 years. I think in our team, he has the most experience playing in the I League. And I'm not just saying being with part of a squad. I'm saying getting minutes in the I League. Yeah, he's not an exceptional where he's going to overlap and cross, but we had to keep Gurkirat in check, and he got the job done. So I think towards the end of the game, if you see Gurkirat leaves his wing and then comes and plays a little bit more inside, maybe you could say as a second striker. So I think with maturity, some of them will also learn how to cope with that, and obviously getting frustrated, and they're losing the psychological battles, which we want them to do. And I think our back four played a solid game today and got a clean sheet, so it was a all in all job well done.
Yeah, and I think that involved. I think Rakshit Dagar, the goalkeeper in the Sudeva goal, had to make one uh, save where he was one tough save. But otherwise, more or less under control. So I mean, definitely a solid game from the back four there. Uh, in that context, Jaideep, what do you make of are the centre back pairing of Gursimrat Gill and Sairwat Kima for Sudeva Delhi? Are they already starting to get noticed? Because again, despite the loss against Momden, I think they've had two solid games, a good solid start to the season.
Yeah, certainly, especially that Sairat Kima, the boy. He, as it is, he get noticed because of his height.
Right.
He's a towering figure. And today he, as Kean pointed out, rightly pointed out, I don't think he never lost. He didn't lose even one battle in the air. Actually, the arrows strikers looked quite hopeless whenever the ball came in the air. He's one of the main reasons. He's definitely getting noticed. And even Rakshit also. Rakshit has a good height. He was not tested too many times, but whenever it came, he looked quite confident. That you have to admit. Perhaps he was not, because defense was doing its job quite well. So he didn't have to stretch himself except once or twice, stretch himself much. But overall, his collection, his coming out, everything. If you look at it, when you watch the match, you must have realized he oozed confidence. So of course they are getting noticed, and now they will be pitted against little more experienced opponents. So we would like to see him doing better against them.
Fair enough. I'm before we wind up, I think that fairly, I think, kya kehte hain, decent assessment of the game that's gone by. There are some questions coming in. Before we wind up, I want to take some of those comments and questions from fans who are tuned into this. Rohit More is saying this Arrows batch is worse compared to the last three batches. And like either of you can jump in and take this.
I think the time has not come to say such things.
Yeah, also the fact that it is a genuinely under 18, under 19 squad. The players are looking, they definitely look very, very young. So
see, even there are two things, Siddhant, a couple of things involved in it. They are young, like that Ahan, that goalkeeper, what is his name, that goalkeeper, Arrows goalkeeper. In August he will be 17. He's not even 17. In August he will be 17. But Arrow's team had always been a young team. But it will be very unfair on these boys to tell that they are the worst team. The previous two teams were better. Of course, the one which went to that under-16 championship and lost by a goal in the quarterfinals, that was a very good batch. I don't disagree with that. But to dismiss these teams after watching just two matches would be terrible. Because we also must admit the fact that all these boys, including Sudeva, including Mohammed and Churchill, they didn't have time to play for the last 10 months. They didn't get any match time. So even if they are doing something wrong, little bit here, there, we have to accept the fact that we have come through last 1 year having absolutely no football. So to say that they are the worst batch, and that too after only two matches, I think that would be very unfair on these boys. For any team, for that matter. For any team in this island, for that matter.
Fair enough. Yeah, absolutely. Aditya Vijay Kumar is asking, and Kean, you can probably take this if you don't mind. Any young players from both sides, Arrows and Sudeva, that caught your eye?
I think the Arrows entire squad is young. The entire Arrow squad is young. So I don't know any of them personally, but I think like we've done in our video set and analysis session, I think Gurkirat is one of the ones who stand out. Fela, their other striker, he's another one. I think in the middle of the park you have Ricky Shabong, who's another eye. We also have a lot of young guys. Again, for us, the guys who starting in 11, William, Gogo, the guy who came on as a sub, Michael, Mahesh, all of them are very young. So a long way to go for them. This is going to be a year for them to learn and a good experience. So all in all, it's a learning procedure for them and for us as well.
Fair enough. That was the one change to the starting lineup, Kean, today, from coach Chenchu Dorji bringing Mahesh Nauram in the middle. Was that the kind of creative spark that the team maybe required, that changed that not changed necessarily, but like added to your attacking intent and kind of brought the whole thing together the way it did?
Yeah, I think definitely because he's a very offensive minded player. He has a very clean left foot, and obviously no one's seen him because he didn't play the previous game. So he was the unique factor that we were getting into this game. So he really has good control, good turning. He put in a good solid shift in the middle today. Got a goal as well. So I think he was really instrumental in the way we went forward. Um, Ansh, who played the previous game, is a different kind of player. It was his first game, so he was getting with the nerves and getting the hang of the game. And as it went on, he did better. So we needed a little more difference and a player with a different dimension, you could say. And Ansh and Mahesh are both having different qualities. In the same way, just when we got on Michael, he is a different quality player. So I think that kind of changed our movement on the pitch. And if another player plays instead of me or instead of Mahesh or instead of another player, they have different qualities. So depending on the requirement of the game, depending on who we are playing, I think those are the kind of decisions the coach makes.
Fair enough. Thank you very much, Keen Lewis, for that very astute and like sort of concise summary of the whole situation, man. I know you're up to lots of things in your spare time in terms of educating yourself and looking at other things, but media is always also something that you should think about because there's plenty of possibility there. Jaideep Basu, thank you once again for taking the time so late in the
Thank you.
evening to
Thank
join
you,
us.
Paul.
I hope you're enjoying the I League, and we'll do more chats around obviously all the other teams in the I League as well. But we will definitely be covering all of Sudeva Delhi FC's games in depth. And so save all of your questions for the next episode. For tonight, I'm going to say good night to both of you and to everyone who tuned in. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Good night.